Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today's video is going to be about Luckin Coffee. Before I start the video, guys, please make sure to leave a like on the video below. Subscribe to the channel for more awesome content. Join the family, guys. Let's go on our investor journey together. So today I'm actually going to be talking about Luckin Coffee and why I think people should actually invest in Luckin Coffee and why I personally think Luckin Coffee is still a very good investment. This is just a disclaimer. Everything I do say in my videos, guys, is not financial advice. It's just my personal recommendation, and these are obviously just all my personal thoughts and opinions, so you do not have to agree with everything that I'm saying. But the way I look at it, yes, if you guys don't know the story of Luckin Coffee, it's a huge coffee chain. Basically, it's based out of China. It was set to rival Starbucks and even branded itself as the Starbucks of China. Huge coffee chain. It's got 6,000 plus stores, and it was expanding like crazy. It had a lot of big time investors behind its name, Goldman Sachs and Bank of America, and a lot of analysts were very shocked at Luckin Coffee's rapid growth. Muddy Waters then published a research report about Luckin Coffee. It was basically a report saying that, Luckin Coffee is fabricating a lot of their sales. A lot of their sales are not legit, and that they were faking a lot of their numbers. Come out later that yes, indeed, that was indeed correct. Luckin Coffee was fabricating a lot of their sales, up to 2.2 billion yuan, which equates to 210 million US dollars. Looking at the 1 year chart, this thing did actually once used to be a $50 stock. It was growing like crazy and expanding like crazy, and the sales were actually out of the roof. Like, Luckin Coffee was doing very, very well. After the whole fraud report came out and stuff like that, a lot of people immediately sold Luckin Coffee. As you can see here by the 1 year chart, the stock basically went almost down to zero. It went all the way down to about $1. And ever since then, Luckin Coffee's been doing a lot to actually rebrand itself and, come back on top. And although we do not have updated financials, I know they are ready, but Luckin Coffee actually has not released updated financials to the public yet, so no one knows the extent of the actual fraud. It has not been released, and for me, I'm just curious to see how Luckin Coffee was actually doing when they're not fabricating the sales. It goes to show, overall, how was Luckin Coffee's business model? Were they actually making money, or did they have to fabricate sales to actually make money? But the reason I'm very bullish on Luckin Coffee, and the reason why I think people should invest in Luckin Coffee, is because although the company committed fraud, companies can recover from fraud. I mean, take a look, for example, at Wells Fargo, General Electric. These are American companies who have committed fraud in the past, and look how they're doing today. They're actually doing very, very well. I know a lot of people who still use Wells Fargo. A lot of people still use General Electric. So it's not like if a company commits fraud, it's the end of the world for the company. I can understand why people would be upset with Luckin Coffee. It did cost people a lot of money, and I would never advocate companies to do fraud. I never think that you should do fraud, but sometimes corrupt management just has their own plans in place, and they just take the company in a direction that people don't want it to. But the thing I like about Luckin Coffee is not only did it actually admit to the fraud, it fired a lot of the top management. Now, when you're looking at it from an investment perspective, when a company commits fraud, the first thing you want to see is a clean sweep of management. And why is that? It's just due to the simple fact that you don't want the same people in power who basically drove the company into the ground. So they fired the CEO, and they fired a bunch of people who were super high up in the company. Another reason I'm actually bullish on Luckin Coffee is because although through the accounting scandal and although they fabricate a lot of their sales, Luckin Coffee is still expanding, and their stores are still open, and they're still making money. This is probably one of the biggest reasons why I'm bullish on Luckin Coffee. Yes, you have to understand that they could have just thrown in the towel. They could have just closed the stores down. But no, even after the fraud, even after everything came out, Luckin Coffee still was doing business. They were still expanding, and they're still building new stores, which is absolutely crazy. It goes to show that the company is still expanding. And the thing is, too, if you guys don't know, Luckin Coffee actually does have a lot of money on hand. I think their market cap currently sits at $1 billion, which is by no means small. And I think they have about $780 million in cash, which is not only good for investments for them, but it's a lot of cash to actually be able to expand. On top of all that, they put in a lot of new management, and Luckin Coffee is trying to clear its name, trying to get the trust back from investors, and trying to prove itself that it's still ready to do business. You have to understand that the whole idea of Luckin Coffee is actually a very good one. You have a huge coffee chain that's based out of China, one of the biggest, if not the biggest country in the world. You know, China, they're not as much as coffee drinkers as they are here in the United States, but everybody loves coffee. I know Starbucks was expanding there as well. The reason I think Luckin Coffee actually fabricated a lot of their sales was because they were probably getting a lot of stress. They felt that Starbucks was going to expand very, very fast like it did here in the United States, leading Luckin Coffee to perpetuate that it was doing a lot better than it actually was. Now, like I said, I think this fraud did hurt Luckin Coffee a lot, but the reason I still see the value in Luckin Coffee is because, like I said, Luckin Coffee stock has basically been through it all. The accounting fraud came out. They got fined already. They got delisted from the NASDAQ. And if you guys don't know, yes, Luckin Coffee did go through a delisting hearing where it currently trades over the counter. And I've been getting a lot of comments lately, and I just want people to know, Robinhood and Webull do not offer over-the-counter stocks. You're not able to buy them. So I've been getting a lot of people saying, I can't buy Luckin Coffee over Robinhood. It's just because it doesn't allow over-the-counter trading, and Luckin Coffee basically trades over the counter. But Luckin Coffee stock has actually been through it all. Nothing really worse can happen to Luckin Coffee. They have a lot of cash on hand, so when they did get fined and then they did get hit with a lawsuit, it really didn't affect them too much. And even through the gist of it all, it's only time for recovery for Luckin Coffee at this point. I mean, they're still doing business. They're still expanding. They hired a lot of new management, and their plan is to continue to just move past this scandal. And that's the right way to tackle it. You know, you can't keep living in the past. Now, I'm not saying what Luckin Coffee did is right, but it's sometimes, you know, you have to move on and you have to start rebuilding yourself from scratch. And that's exactly what Luckin Coffee is actually doing, basically starting on a clean slate. And I know that Luckin Coffee is not going to make the same mistake twice. The only thing I really want to see with Luckin Coffee right now is some updated financials. I want to see how the company is actually doing. I want to see if the company was actually profitable before the accounting scandal. And the thing is, if Luckin Coffee was actually profitable before the accounting scandal, there should have been no point for them to actually do the fraud in the first place. This is only my personal opinion, but I actually do think Luckin Coffee was still profitable, even though they fabricated a lot of their sales. Now, you have to understand as well that, you know, the pandemic also wasn't helping. That was kind of running around in China. It was hurting a lot of Luckin Coffee sales, but a lot of stocks actually did take a hit during the pandemic. So I'm not blaming that on Luckin Coffee in itself. I just want people to know that, you know, Luckin Coffee is still a good investment. Even analyzing the 5-day chart, like, if you guys see, like, the stock is doing very, very well. It basically traded at like $2 for a very long time, and the stock is starting to recover. And the reason I think it is starting to recover is because people are starting to see the value of Luckin Coffee. You have to understand that this is a huge coffee chain that's based out of China with 6,000 plus stores, $1 billion market cap. They have a lot of cash on hand. They still continue to keep expanding. They put in a lot of new management, and the price tag is only $4.23. To me, I still think Luckin Coffee has a lot of room to recover. And I do think Luckin Coffee is worth the investment. But with that being said, guys, that's all I really have to say about the video. Let me know down in the comment section below, guys, what you think of Luckin Coffee. Do you still think Luckin Coffee is a very good investment? Are you guys invested in Luckin Coffee? And I'm very curious to know, if you guys are invested in Luckin Coffee, how many shares do you own? With that being said, guys, thank you. Have a great day.